Failures are the stepping stones to success. We've all heard this before. However, we only understand the importance of failures in hindsight. Most of us make elaborate plans about what we are going to do after we succeed. However, we don't think enough about what we are going to do in case we fail. In today's world of chaos, too many things are unsure. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Unemployment is at an all-time high. At such a point, so many people are dealing with mental health issues. Not just that, in the business world, on a very normal average, around 90% of all startups fail. However, do we really know how to deal with it? Are people like you and me equipped to be able to deal with the pressure of setbacks and failures? My guest for today is one of the most prominent entrepreneurs of this country. His absolutely inspiring journey has led him to become the president of the Federation of Nepalese Chamber of Commerce and Industries. He's an inspiration to so many thousands of people. Yet, on my every interaction with him, I have felt just two things. I'm absolutely awestruck by his humility and his approachability. He is none other than the very, very versatile and the absolutely amazing Mr. Shekhar Golchha. Welcome, sir. What do you consider to be your greatest failure, something that had the most amount of impact on you?
Thanks, Mannsi, for inviting me for this show first. Like everyone else, I have had a huge share of failures in my life or weaknesses, in my life. And if I go back to my childhood days, I do remember I was not a sportsman at all. And it was absolute mandatory for us to take part in sports. And I used to hate sports, so I would get a doctor's certificate saying that, I'm not well today. And I will try and not be part of any sports, So this was my state, and I remember the only sports I used to play is slow cycle race, and I had to convince my teacher that maybe this is a good sport to have, slow cycle race, because I could stop a cycle in one place for maybe 20 minutes, and nobody could beat me in that, So I think it was a failure in the sense that I was physically not confident enough that I could be part of any sports, and that confidence, I would probably, my friends would probably look down at me saying that, he's not part of any sports, because that's where all the camaraderie happens, and so I think it was a huge failure on my part. That I was not, physically confident enough.
As a child, did that make you insecure? Did that make you feel really low about yourself? Was it huge for you?
No, of course it was huge for me. I missed the camaraderie when I could see other friends, talking about what happened in the game today. I missed that camaraderie. But I think I just couldn't start, I just couldn't start, and I think I had this thing that, I'm not competitive enough for sports, So I would always opt out and sit in the corner, So I think that's a huge failure when I look back into my life.
So had you not failed at that, had you not been somebody who was scared of sports, how would your life have been different? What would have been different?
Had I not failed, I wouldn't have probably realized one day that being physical fit is so important in life. And I think that failure taught me that I need to work harder on myself, and so I started trekking, and I think I became passionate about trekking. I've done so much of trekking all around the world, and that has kept me very fit, I think. So I think that failure has actually taught me that that you need to be physically fit. It's never too late to start, and so I have trekked all around. Like for example, in Nepal, I've been to Everest Base Camp, the Annapurna Base Camp, the Annapurna circuits, and I've climbed Kilimanjaro. I have also trekked up to Machu Picchu in Peru, and also done a lot of treks in Europe as well. So I think that childhood thing really gave me the importance of being fit. And I think today I feel proud of the fact that, even being a 54-year-old, I think I've kept myself reasonably fit because of all the treks I do. Even today, every morning I would go for 1.5 hours hike. On Saturdays I would go for almost 2 to 3 hours hike. And I think that childhood complex I had really helped me, the importance of being fit. And so here I am today.
Great, it's amazing to hear that, because I know for a fact a lot of people could relate to this. As in, I could relate to it myself. We used to have basketball in school. I was no basketball player at all. I was more of the swimming type. So I could sort of relate to a lot of things that you were saying. But my question to you is, was there any one particular incident from your childhood, maybe in the sports field or in the sports arena, where you felt completely shattered, lost?
As I told you, I miss that camaraderie, and many a times, I think when everybody used to get together, they used to probably forget me altogether, because I was not part of any sports, and that was so important. And I do remember incidents where, when the school get together used to happen, and they used to all have fun, and they would even forget to invite me. That shattered me, of course.
How did that make you feel as a young child?
No, it felt terrible. I mean, it felt terrible in the sense that I did realize that why it is so important to be part physically fit and to be part of in some sports, especially in your school days.
So how long did this whole feeling of being not so good at sports or being insecure about, doing sports, participating with your friends in team sports maybe, how long did this last? When did you suddenly realize that this was becoming a problem for you? And when did you start feeling that maybe you needed to do something about it?
So till my high school, I had this huge complex, that maybe I'll not be able to do it. But right after high school, I think I started cycling a lot. I started walking a lot, and started playing some sports, but not very competitively. But then I got into it, so I did realize that how important it is to be physically fit if you really want to achieve anything in life. And so I really took walking and trekking and hiking extremely seriously. And for me, this is the passion. I mean, I'm the happiest when I'm trekking over a hill, and whenever I get a chance, I go for a 4 days, 5 days hike. If there's a long weekend, and I think that's when I'm the happiest.
Great. And so how was your family's support at that point? For a young child, maybe your parents, maybe your siblings, did they support you? Did they sort of push you to come out of it? Did they realize that maybe you were struggling with this feeling of inadequacy?
Mannsi, I think biggest support came from my wife, because she was also extremely fond of trekking, So I think most of the treks we've done it together. And so she was the one who inspired me, pushed me as well. She used to tell me that when we met first, I didn't know how to walk. I mean, I would be very shy walker. Not confident of walking at all. And she would make fun of me and saying that you need to learn how to walk. And so I did. I think she inspired me a lot to be fit in life, and she's extremely motivated as far as fitness is concerned.
And now, how do people perceive you now, or how do you think they perceive you now?
So the other day we had the school reunion, and I looked around for all the friends who were super sports people, and I saw them very unfit, very fat, and so I looked at myself and I said, hey, maybe I wasn't fit then, but I think I've worked on myself, and now I'm okay, and I felt pretty good about myself.
So you had sort of an opposite tangent to what they've had in that regard as well.
Yes, yes, that's right. And then we actually did a small hike somewhere, and I could run up, and I was just waiting for them to come, and they would take forever to come, So I felt actually good. So it was getting back to them.
Absolutely. It's like the 7-year-old. You should be really proud now, and you should really sort of pat yourself on the back for that. So that's amazing. But when you were going through this sort of phase where you were really scared, insecure, what sort of made you go on? What was that one thing or that one sentence maybe that you told yourself, or what was it that sort of made you and pushed you to go on?
So as I told you, I think I missed that camaraderie which kept on haunting me. And also the fact that in school, in high school, I was nobody. In fact, many a times when people, when we meet today and speak about our childhood days, I'm never feature. I never feature in any, and they, sometimes get surprised that was I part of the class at all. So I have to keep reminding I was. I used to sit behind. Don't you remember? So I was invisible, because sports is so important when you're in school. So I think all this, maybe not just one incident, but it's a series of incidents which pushed me that physical fitness is very, very important.
Do you see any parallels between physical fitness and mental ability in the world, in the sense that now that you're doing something that does not require so much of physical fitness as such professionally, but it requires a lot of mental agility? So do you see some parallels? Do you see?
So Mannsi, and I think I would also like to speak about the second sort of weakness or failures I have had, which is connected to what you just said. I mean, no man is born perfect. We all need to work on our weaknesses, and something which is to be, I used to be highly complexed, and felt really bad that if I had to go and speak publicly. And I remember in school days as well, and if I had to go and speak publicly, if the teacher would ask me to, can you answer this? Even if I knew the answer, I was too nervous to speak publicly, so I was like that. And I did realize that for me, as a businessman, to succeed in life, I need to learn how to speak publicly. And I joined an organization for a while you were there too, and I remember, and it's Toastmasters, and only reason was that I wanted to practice public speaking. That and I think Toastmasters, and I was a very serious tenure I gave for every week I was there for the Toastmasters, and I would practice public speaking, try and take feedbacks, and I would take feedbacks extremely seriously, work on it, and I think I've really I mean, I'm not perfect, but I think I'm far more confident relatively for public speaking. And I think both the things, physical fitness and public speaking, is these two, I think prerequisites today. If you want to have positive attitude towards your life, or you want to achieve anything, these two are very important aspects in life. Yes.
Right. So as a leader, do you see yourself, I know that you see yourself practicing a lot of, let's say, public speaking, because you're making so many speeches in so many different places. But do you also see yourself using your your physical fitness now to actually be a better leader? Do you think that pushes you in a way?
Of course. I think being physical fit, it keeps your mind agile as well. And I do travel all around Nepal. I do have extremely busy schedule, and from 8 o'clock till 9, 10, so and I think it's the physical fitness which also keeps you mentally alert to do things. And of course, I mean, you need to, for every speech, as they say in Toastmasters, that you are only as good as your last speech. So still, I think, because I'm not a born great speaker like many of my friends are, so I do have to refer back and prepare every time I go and speak. So that's something which I keep doing it. So I mean, physical fitness and your mental agility, I think it's connected. Yes.
Okay, so possibly the most important question, what were some of the strategies that you used to actually overcome your failures? So from being somebody who was scared of sports to hiking and summiting mountains, and from being somebody who was possibly scared of speaking in public to actually making speeches in front of such large organizations, what were some of the strategies you used?
So as I told you, as far as speech was concerned, and I was absolutely nervous speaker. Not that I am perfect today, but I think relatively, as I said, I am much better. So I would practice and practice. Still I am practicing, Toastmasters was one platform which I did. And as far as physical is concerned, I found my passion, and as I told you, I'm the happiest when I'm trekking or hiking. So I found my passion, and not many people around life find a space which really makes you happy. And for me, trekking and hiking was the happiest. And if I'm walking in the mountain, and if I'm all alone, and it's cold air, around, and it's if I cannot see any of human developments or anything like this, I think that's when I start getting very happy from inside. And I need that, and and so I've worked on both the things, and luckily I found my passion in both. As far as public speaking or leadership role in FNCCI is concerned, I mean, it's an organization, a lot of people do not know this, but it's an organization which was nurtured by my family, and it was, the concept was also bought by my family. And today, if I am able to lead that, and with my public speaking and with my reasonable fitness, I feel all connecting together.
Right. So basically what I get from this is passion and practice, right? And when you talk about finding love, so the more you find love for whatever it is that you are passionate about, you feel like indulging in it more and more, and therefore the practice follows as well, right? So it's connected.
Yes. So Mannsi, I think, as I told you, that I have a strong belief that nobody in this world is born perfect. We have our weaknesses, all of us will have our weaknesses, we'll have our soft sides. But if we are passionate about it, and if you really want to go ahead, you need to work on it.
Right.
And when you work on it, it's sometimes you will be ridiculed, and sometimes you will be made fun. You would be, you will have very weak moments. But if you really want to achieve that, and if you really want to work on your weakness, like for example, public speaking, as I told you, the whole format of Toastmasters was such that, I would hear criticism every time, or feedbacks as they call it, So, for me to go and in front of, I would say little juniors, and hear feedbacks was sometimes you need to be mentally tough, So I did all that and overcame most of my weaknesses, and here I am today.
Great, it's just so nice to hear that. And I also want to ask you, you spoke about ridiculed, you used the word ridiculed. Have you ever felt ridiculed for actually starting on your fitness journey? So after having started your fitness journey, after having sort of devoted and dedicated yourself to actually becoming fitter, mentally stronger, did you ever feel ridiculed by, say, peers or people around you, or maybe within yourself? Did you feel, I can't do this is not really for me? Have you felt that?
I felt it all the time when I was in school. I felt it, and I think because they would look at me as a weakling, and I would never, be confident enough to start. I think even my sports teacher had given up on me, that this guy is not going to do anything, and so it's like ridiculed all the time, and I would sit in the corner and they had given up that this guy is not good for anything.
Yeah, my maths teacher pretty much gave up on me, so I know that feeling completely. So my final question for you is, do you have anything to share with those people who right now, because of the situation around us, might be struggling with mental health issues, with not knowing how to deal with setbacks? Let's not call them failures, but setbacks, or somebody who may not feel so secure about themselves and who might be very conscious about whatever's happening around, how society is perceiving it. What do you want to say to them? Because a lot of people, I know for a fact, look up to you as somebody with the strongest spirit, somebody that they're inspired by, somebody that they want to be like one day. But for them to actually see you be so brave here and so vulnerable, and to actually share what you felt insecure about, is going to give them a lot of hope. But here's what I want to ask you. What would you like to directly tell them to focus on and to do if they want to overcome whatever it is that they're struggling with?
So Mannsi, my advice, and something which I said earlier as well, we all need to identify our weaknesses, and weaknesses does not mean it's the end. It's not the end. I think nature has given us enough strength that we can. Some people are born with ridiculous amount of talent, and some people are not. and not necessarily people with a lot of talent will achieve success. You know, success will mean a mixture of a lot of other things as well. And if you're not born perfect, if you're not ridiculously intelligent or smart or physically naturally fit, you know, then you need to work on it. And it's never too late. And if you continuously work, I think our bodies, our mind, you know, our capabilities can be nurtured to achieve greater things in life.
So you do talk about the growth mindset a lot, right? Absolutely. Any advice, any last words for somebody who's really going through a tough time professionally or financially right now? Because we see a lot of people struggling.
So my advice will be, you know, you need to, I think, identify where you want to, what you want to achieve, and you need to identify what's stopping you, you know, and if you find what's stopping you, and if you start working on it, you know, and I think you can achieve. We all are capable of achieving great things in life if we work hard for it.
What do you think is important, more important, emotional intelligence or mental intelligence?
So I think it's a mixture of two, you know. I think, you know, something which, you know, sets us apart as humans is the fact that we have emotional intelligence as well. And I think if everything in life we try and logically conclude, then nobody is going to climb Mount Everest. Nobody is going to go to the moon, you know. There has to be emotional quotient. It has to be something which just doesn't make sense logically, you know. And I think that is important, but to, you know, and you know, intelligence and logical intelligence or mental intelligence is also very, very important. And I think it's a mixture of two. I think any human being which is just logical will only reach a certain place, and to really go all the way, you need to have a mixture of both.
And you need that bit of passion to sort of
Yes.
take you to Mount Everest or Kilimanjaro in your case. Great. How important is academics in professional success or career success?
So Mannsi, I feel that to be successful in life, it's a mixture of a lot of things, and academics is just one of them. You know, there is a whole lot of things which will make a man or successful, and academics, of course, helps in today's time. Academics also helps, but and it would probably play a major part of it. But there are so many other factors which is important to be successful in life.
If there was one thing that you could change, go back in time and change about your first business venture, what would it be?
Well, as far as my business life is concerned, I've had a lot of failures. I mean, I think today people do remember of the good things I've done in life, but I've had my share of failures. And one of the things which I did was import medicines from Pakistan, you know, and for which I lost a lot of money because, you know, I had wrong partners, so to say, and I had a very short learning curve for the business, and I lost a lot of money. That taught me a lot about doing business as well, that you need to, you know, I mean, you cannot be just emotional about business, but you need to understand the business very, very well before you do it, you know. And I think if I have to go back and change that, I don't know if I want to change that, because it taught me a lot of things, but that business was a bad idea.
Okay, so you do feel that you are more, you're happier, or not, let's not use the word happier, you have accepted that setback better now that you look at it?
Yes, and luckily I have had my share of failures in life, so that which has made me very strong. Even in FNCCI, I've had my huge share of disappointments and you know, deceits and whole lot of things which happened to me. But I stood strong, I feel, to my values, and you know, I've achieved what I had to achieve. Yeah.
It really makes me feel that a lot of us, people younger than you, I'm much younger than you, by the way, a lot of us younger than you, we look up to you as somebody who sort of this person who's lighting up the path for us. If you tell us that you have gone through your share of failures, even business-wise, which is something we don't hear of, honestly, it really makes us feel so much more comforted, because you are the trailblazer. You are the one here who's showing us the path, who's lighting the path for us. And when you tell us that you have gone through downs and you've seen your share of upheavals and deceit, it just makes it so much easier for me to actually accept that maybe I could have gone through stuff as well.
Even today, Mannsi, I have my shares of failures in business, and after 30 years of doing business, I do a lot of things wrong, and I do realize that I can identify exactly where I made mistakes and try and correct it.
Do you feel humble enough to accept your mistakes to other people as well?
Of course I do. In fact, I think that's one quality I think we all should nurture, in accepting and maybe laughing about it. Sometimes you can't afford to laugh about it, but I think I am in a position that I can laugh off most of my failures today.
That's amazing. I think that just makes me respect this whole thought so much more, not just to be aware of your failures and your weaknesses, let's say, but to actually have this ability to look at them from almost a third person's perspective and to be able to laugh at them if need be. So that's fabulous. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much,
Mannsi.
Thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
I had a very, very meaningful conversation with Mr. Golchha today, and I learned 4 things out of it that I'd like to share with you. The first thing I realized with this, it doesn't always take for you to change. It doesn't always take the big incidents, the earth-shattering ones. He spoke about something so simple that made him who he is today, that made him change. He spoke about himself and feeling insecure as a little child while playing sports. So, if you really want to change, it doesn't have to take a huge incident. A small insecurity, a small weakness also could be a catalyst to major change in your life. The next thing that I learned was about his humility. He humbly accepted and changed, and he accepted honestly his mistakes and his weaknesses. I think this is one attitude that we need to inculcate, because once we manage to do that, we also become more receptive to feedback and more receptive to change and growth. The third thing that I liked was that he spoke about how important it is to be aware of your own weaknesses, your own mistakes, your own setbacks, your own problems. I think that's really where all the change starts to happen and starts to show. And finally, possibly the most important go-to step that you can actually implement, he spoke about the power of passion and how if you put passion into practice, you can actually achieve success. This is the main chunk of what I learned today. What did you learn?